Welcome to Unveiling, where we highlight the journey of individuals and the success that they have had with Christ. I've had the privilege of interviewing Desmond Young, a civil engineer. Yeah, he's had many titles in his lifetime, but he added one to his long list of titles, and that is author. He wrote the book, The Desmond Young Story, Where You Begin Does Not Determine Where You End. And in our last episode, we focused a lot on, his life, how life was for him as a child growing up in Kingston 11, moving to 9 different locations, living in a very uncomfortable situation. But throughout his life, we've always seen the hand of God covering him, guiding him, shielding him. And where we left off last time was he was telling us about, the scholarship that he had going to Russia to study civil engineering. So Desmond, you were telling us about an encounter that you had with a gentleman who called you a monkey. I mean, obviously, you face prejudice in Russia for the very first time in your life. You're facing prejudice. White people not wanting to come close to you, not wanting to associate with you. Got that kind of turn after.
Well, actually, let's be very clear. It was not unique to Russia, because one of the things that the scholarship allowed, you could take a train from Moscow and go anywhere in Europe. So we used to go everywhere, England, Germany, Poland, all over, Netherlands. So to get to London from Moscow on a train, that is approximately 2 days. So you go through Belarus, you go through Poland, East Germany, West Germany, the Netherlands at Hoek van Holland, and then there's a cruise ship that takes you over through the English Channel and you land at Liverpool Street or Dover. And so I took the opportunity with Fitzroy and others to go all over Europe, we go everywhere. And I went to England after going to Germany, Netherlands, Poland, and a couple other places, and I saw the same thing in London, but they don't call you monkey, but you saw it, and it was terrible in Germany. Some places in Germany, when you're in Berlin, you don't have any issue because Berlin has everybody. But when you go outside of Berlin, at that time I can't speak for now, it will be very obvious that they're uncomfortable around you. So it was not unique to Russia. It was all over Europe. And I'm hearing that it is still not so drastic, but it is still there. Wonderful.
How do you deal with the prejudices and the racism associated?
Oh, that was encouragement, man. That's more reason for me to study hard.
So
they were helping me.
They were motivating you to do better. You were sharing about that, some classmates who would sit at the back when they recognized you were sitting at the front. But after 6 months, when you got all A's, everybody became your friend. I became
over Desmond, and they would take me out. They'll take me to movies. They'll take me to restaurants. And sometimes I wonder why the people are bothering me. They thought I was a monkey. But eventually, by the time I reached the 3rd year, the ones who said anything that they apologized. They said it was lack of knowledge. So even the young lady that asked me, where do I hide my tail? When she was apologizing, she was crying. Oh, wow. She said, Desmond, I'm so sorry. But it was just lack of knowledge. But the joke about it that you will meet other Russians who they're quite okay. So it was, but one of the challenges was I was in the north of Moscow. They weren't used to foreigners there. The guys who were in Patrice Lumumba and the other university in the south, that area would be used to foreigners. So there are many times I'm on the bus and everybody, or the subway up there, and everybody.
It's like, this is different.
What is a foreigner doing up here? But that's where that institution is.
So your academic journey, of course, it's concluded with you achieving your Master's of Science in Civil Engineering. What was the next step for you? I mean, so Dana and Pat are back.
I didn't wait to collect, as I collect the degree, I took the next flight, so I didn't stay for the graduation. I came home, and you do what you have to do. You have to register the degree with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They wrote an article about me, And I told Pat that I was out of the country for 6 years. So every year I'm going to take a week. I'm going to rest for 6 weeks. And I don't know anything. I don't know how much a pound of flour costs. I don't even know how much to ask.
Right.
So I didn't send out any application. I met with my other engineering colleagues, people who went to Excelsior High School, to get a feel of how much they pay an engineer. And every time I ask somebody how much you pay an engineer, they say, that makes sense you ask it because you have a master's at first class and has your money different from our money. So whatever we tell you on that, you decide how much you're going to ask. So I had to take that time, and then Pat was in the field. She could guide me because she was at a company that had engineers. So I took the time and learned. But on week 4, the Minister of Construction sent for me.
Okay, tell us.
And that was Odi Ramtali. And he said, "Where are you? We're looking for you. Why you didn't come and register at my ministry?" I said, "But I didn't know to do that." So he said, "If you think that you're going to work in the private sector, you have a guest coming. You're going to work for the government or a company connected to the government or a company that the government have shares in. And then after that, you are a scholarship recipient. Then you can go get the big money." And I just laughed, but I thought he wanted me to work with the government. And then his driver came for me one morning and took me to Astrom Building Systems. At that point in time, the government had shares in the company. I didn't realize that it was a quasi company. And I met with the general manager and the engineers, and everybody just said to me, "Are you we want?" And I'm like, it couldn't be that easy. And they sent me to this lady named Mrs. Maxwell, who became like my mother. And everything I involved with, I consult her. And she said to me, "Boy, what you do for and just study? I've never seen a strandship with so much A's. So you're going to move fast in this company now, because there's nobody here with a master's, with honors, so you're going to move fast. So let me tell you something. I'm going to give you some advice. 4 things. Never marry a fast woman. Don't buy a fast car. Don't bet on a slow racehorse. And you're going to move up fast, so when you're moving, pull people up with you, so that when you fall, there's somebody to catch you." I remember it. This was 1992, September. I remember it. Never forget it.
So,
No, you missed the point. She said, when you fall. She never said if. And I interpreted it just like that. So she's saying that you must fall. Chances are, but you must have people to pull you up. So pull people up.
So what was your outlook like? So you started then, you were working. What were some of the projects that you were engaged in?
Funny enough, my first project was Oaklands, and that's the biggest of its kind in the Caribbean. So I started at the top.
Hold up.
Oaklands was my first project.
You say Oaklands. Oaklands and Constant Spring Road.
The Oaklands that you can see from when you go outside and you look down,
Yes.
and you see in the city, those clusters of buildings, that's Oaklands.
So
That was my first project.
you were the project engineer
Yes.
for Oaklands.
Yes.
Okay. So what after? Because that project got so much traction. I mean, you were on the radio at that time, weren't you?
Every Sunday for about 3 months, myself, the CEO of the NHC and the chairman of the board of the NHC, have to be there explaining why the building won't fall down when an earthquake hit it. And some of the times it was embarrassing, but again, that was training.
Listen, so if you are still living in Oakland right now, the reason it's still up is because this man had a part to play in it, right? And a big part too. Yeah. So you moved on from Oaklands to what?
That I remember when I wrote a book, and I'm looking back and I look at my CV, and there seems to be a lot of projects, but I do more projects than that. I just selected some. So from Oaklands I went to College Green. From College Green I went to Mountain Court. From Mountain Court I went to, I think it's Bridgewater in Discovery Bay, and the police station at Patrick City, and then I went Montego Bay and did the big police station down by the Freeport, and I did the Cornwall Court too.
Freeport Police Station?
The big one. Then Then I did Cornwall Court Phase 2, Sandals White House, Idea Star, and cricket World Cup, Sabina Park, cricket World Cup 2 to 7, I was there again. And the inner city housing project all over Kingston, I did that. So it kept going and going and going and going.
Slow down, Desmond. So what is it that keeps a man like you conquered? Because, I mean, you pretty much built Jamaica. And I'm putting it...
That's what Dr. Young tells me.
Yeah, you built Jamaica.
That's what Dr. Young told me. That is just a few and I did more.
So what is it that keeps you... You mentioned in the last interview with it, you said you're simple. There's nothing simple about this, but you describe yourself as simple. What is it that keeps...
Actually, I am simple because there are many times I'll be in a crowd of people and somebody's looking for Desmond Young and they're not looking for me. And they'll say, where's Mr. Young? I say, but I'm here. I say, where am I not come here? Well, there was this occasion where I did Longville 1 and Longville 2 as well. How could I leave about Longville? Just off the highway. I did the first 2 phases. And when we went to they call them parish council then to present the the plans, my draftsman was putting the drawings on the wall, and he was well dressed, and I was just like this. So I went in and I sat in the front row, and the mayor comes in and says, "Oh, Mr. Young, whenever you're ready, tell us." And the man said, "But I'm not Mr. Young." And then I said, "Your worship, I'm here." And he said, "The end of the smart me outside." I said, "Are you Mr. Young?" They're expecting somebody older, somebody, and I do it all the time. But God has placed me in such a position that under the leadership of maybe the last 4 or 5 prime ministers, the office of the prime minister has called me to ask questions about the industry.
All right, so Desmond, so you came back from Russia, you are now employed at Astrom, you are engaged in numerous projects.
Every year I got a new promotion.
Engaged in numerous projects across Jamaica. So you're back with Pat and Dane, but Dane says something that caught your attention with Kat. He said he wanted
a sister.
A sister.
But that was quite funny because I asked him a couple of years before and he said, "Daddy, I don't want nobody else. I don't want the money to share. I must get all the money." That was his exact words. I said, "Okay." But now he comes and says he wants a sister.
He wants a sister.
He gave her the name. Kimon. His name is from Dane.
So the family expanded.
That was 1994.
And Kimon came into the picture in 1994, so it became a family of 4. And at this time, you are in the hikes of your climb to the top of the ladder in your field. But something happened in 2002, I think it was. I think I see it right. Could be wrong, but I think that was it. You were introduced to the Seventh-day Adventist faith, weren't you?
Actually, I got baptized in 2002, but I was introduced before. The first Adventist church I went with Pat. That was Penwood Seventh-day Adventist.
Tell us about this.
Her mother is a long-standing Adventist, and when I just met Pat, she said, "Well, my mother is going to want to meet you, and you have to go to church, make sure you see her." At that time I was an Anglican, but I wasn't practicing. Although I believe in God strongly and firmly, and I prayed regularly. Even when I'm in Moscow, I prayed a lot. And in Moscow, you couldn't have Bibles then. But I prayed a lot. Even with the incident, when I said, "God, just let me study." I prayed the same prayer that I prayed when my mother died when I was in 3rd form. "Lord, you know that I study, so keep me calm so that I remember what I study. Don't care what is happening, keep me calm." So I'm always calm. So I went to the church. I didn't make much of it. I've read the Bible before. But to be honest, I saw the Bible then as like a textbook. I read it just as the way I read a textbook. So I went to the church. Their mother liked me. I think she think I was a little bit too fiery though, but she liked me. I could tell her that she liked me. I think I was a little bit too firm and no nonsense. And she's very politically correct. And Pat is also very politically correct. But I was always, I said something I'm like it, I just tell you. The humility stop, that's a no. I just tell you straight. Simple. I don't make any difference who you are and you don't got a prime minister. All right? I'm going to tell you straight. Because I learned that very early that the best thing I can be is straight. So I went, but an incident happened. we used to have VIP passes for all the nightclubs. And because of my position at Astrum Billing System, I had an entertainment allowance, so I used to entertain a lot of people. So Friday nights we normally go out, and I'm going out with all these big individuals. And one Friday I came home and Pat was not ready. And she said she's not going to the memoir alone. And she said that a young lady had an accident. And she prayed and asked God that if he spares the girl life, she will get baptized. Because although she grew up in an Adventist family, Pat was not baptized. So, cut that story short, the girl lived. Everybody thought that she would have died. She lived, and so my wife is now not going out with me Friday nights when I'm entertaining all these other big leaders. And I said, but that is serious. I am here. And one day, Elder Howard Johnson Sr. came here to speak to Pat. And Pat said to me, Sweets, I want you to talk to this man. I think he can handle it. I don't think there's anybody else in the church that can handle it. If you ask this man a question and he can't answer you, he's going to tell you the truth. He's not going to behave like other people who try to give you a sugar-coated answer. So I said, okay, we'll see. And so now, because Pat decided that he was the one doing the Bible studies with her. So a couple of times I came in and they were there, and I'm here with all of my friends from all over. And we went upstairs in the study or on the balcony or around the back. And I'm seeing this man repeatedly, and one day Pat said to me, Sweets, I wouldn't mind if you'd sit with us some of the time, because I know you read the Bible, but you're missing something. I said, really? And so I sat, and we were there. And when he was finished with Pat, he said to me, I know who you are. I understand you. You can ask me anything. I won't dance. I'm going to tell it to you raw, just the way you like it. And I'm like, really? This is the first? So the next time I met with him, I tried it. And I asked him 2 questions and he couldn't answer them. And he said to me, give me 2 weeks. If I don't find the answer, I find somebody who can answer you. And I said, okay. It took him a week. And he came back. And he came with 2 other people. 2 ladies. And we sat and we had a conversation. And I said, yeah. Yeah, all right. So when Pat got baptized, she said to me, we're going to talk to him. Because if he answered those, I mean, here you ask other people already and then tell you foolishness. So I'm saying, no, I'm thinking about it, you know. So I'm going to learn some more. So that's how it started. And it did not start with the intention of Bible study or baptism. We were just having discussions. Right. I was just asking him questions. I'm asking him questions. And he comes and we're there for 45 minutes and I just ask question.
So you made a decision eventually to become a member?
Well, one day I was asking him some question and he was reading something from the Bible. But everything that I asked him, he found the answer in the Bible. That really blew me away.
Yeah.
Not like the other people who just try to tell you something. Right. So if he said it's 1 + 1, he'd be going at the Bible and say, see there, 1 + 1. Everything. Question. All right, I don't have the answer. I'll come back with it. And come back, they are saying the Bible. So I said, it's serious. And then one day we are there and he said, all right, so I'm getting all of this knowledge and this is eye-opening. And I'm an engineer. I'm somebody who believes in process and method. God is a very specific man. So therefore, if he says, remember the Sabbath day, it can't be any day specific. So therefore, all I want is proof that this Sabbath is Saturday. Yes. And he said, well, you can find that yourself. You can go through history. We said, no, I want you to show me. He said, all right, next time. And So we were just talking about now what the change day from Saturday to Sunday and the proof and all of that. And when he was finished the day, someone said to him, okay, now that I have all of this, when is the next baptism? And he was like, say that again? Somebody said, when is the next baptism? That was it.
And that was it. And ever since then, you've been at the Meadowvale Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yes, and I used to sit at the back and just keep quiet and don't talk to nobody.
No, but Desmond.
That's what I did.
Who calls himself Simple Desmond.
That's what I did.
It didn't last for very long.
Actually, it lasts long. Let me tell you how it changed. Every position that they tried to offer me, I refused. And my explanation was, and Elder Johnson Sr. never had a problem with him. So when the Spirit move you, you will move. Nobody can move.
So when you came in, they knew who you were, obviously.
They didn't know immediately.
They found out.
He knew. But I was doing the inner city housing project. And one Thursday, I was on TV with the Prime Minister.
Oh, wow.
Now, the funny enough, they have been seeing me all the time, you know. But when they see me, I look like this. Short pants or something. So that day now, they're seeing this man named Desmond Young. So the last thing, him have a jacket and tie and beside the Prime Minister. The mistake I made is that the next Sabbath, I went to pick up Pat and I was wearing jacket and tie. They normally don't see me like that.
Immediately.
And they could know, I said, but hold on, are him? And they went to Pat and started asking Pat, your husband is the man building the whole heap of houses and then the inner city thing, what did they on the TV with Prime Minister? And she was like, but he has been around all along, I don't know him. And that's how they knew. So now they started to complain. At that time, I was chairman of this, president of that. I have all sorts of accolades already in the engineering fraternity and the construction industry. Did all of these big projects. I was on TV like at least once a month. But they didn't recognize me. Because they never see me in a suit when I come there to pick me up on a hat and this and look ragged. And that now created a firestorm. So why you don't want a position if you're this big leader? Is there something wrong with the church? And it became unbearable, and Pat started to say to me that they think that you're being elitist. I said, let them go and think so. I went on this USA tour. That took me out of the country for almost 2 weeks. And during that time, they were dealing with the nominating committee. And I came back when they were reading out the report from the nominating committee. And I heard, Desmond Young, elder. Desmond Young, Sabbath school teacher. My son is Desmond Young.
Right, so you're...
And he's very active in church. So I said to myself, it must be him, it could not be me. It was me. So I became an elder.
Desmond, King David, elder. How was that?
First of all, I must tell you, the day that I baptized in the church, you were full. All of the people who, like the community leaders, blah, 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 they were there. The church.
So they still have that influence on your lives?
Yeah, I still talk to them. I can't live their life for them. They're very honest with me, and I'm honest with them. And there's one in particular that we have been friends from 1980. We're still very close. Most of the other ones in the book died already, but he's alive.
You know, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's, probably on the surface, it seemed as though I should have asked this question from the very beginning, the first part of this series, but I intentionally delayed it. Why did you write this book? We've come to that pivotal point where we want to really know, what is your documentary?
There are 3 individuals that were nagging me. My wife, Patricia, my daughter, Dr. Kimon Young, and my late friend, Delano Franklin, who is pictures in the book. And he edited many books, and he knows me from the early days, so he knows my story. And he said to me, Desi, I don't want you to die, and this is not written that it can motivate others. You have done so much. You became a national awardee, all sorts of award of excellence in engineering. You get all president of the Jamaica Institution of Engineering, chairman of the Pegasus. And it went on, and he said, Desi, but my wife was always there from the beginning saying that. And then eventually, Kimon joined the chorus. He got sick, and I went to look for him. And I thought he was getting better. He looked that way to me. And he said, you're not listening. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to buy a digital tape recorder and give you the stock. And then you just give me it and me write the book. He died 4 days after that, and that really shook me up. So I said to Pat, I will write this thing. And that's right, because he used to ask me to go to places and speak to people, because he did a lot of community work. And I would go, and when I'm finished, him saying, so listen, you need to record this. It can't die with you.
Yeah. A big part of your journey has been mentorship to,
Yes, females and males, but there's a special love in your heart for young men who were on a path like yours, heading in a direction that they just weren't sure how they would see,
their way out of those circumstances.
Or who some people cast off.
And people.
Or condemn. I've had quite a few of those.
But I know you, and that's how I met you at East Jamaica Conference. You were mentoring the ASI.
Yes, I still do.
Talk to us about that.
When I was growing up, I didn't have anybody who could give me money. But I got excellent guidance. And they did not see me for who I was then, or what I was doing, or what I looked like, or where I come from. They saw me in the future. And they're always telling me how great I can be. I mean, Mother Rob told me that I could be Prime Minister one day. And I realized that there are a lot of bright boys all over Jamaica, and they don't make it for sometimes some simple reasons. So I made myself that promise that anybody that I can lift up, I'm going to lift them up, because I could have been lost as well. But because of Mother Rob and Miss Palmer, and even those community leaders, I mean, some of them were really bad people in them. But with me, it was something different. And I was always told, you do not do what we do. You're the one who's supposed to keep us together and make us proud. So you can learn lessons in any situation. So I made that decision that I'm going to make myself strong so that I will be able to assist, not just by talking, but in a tangible and sustainable way. And that's what we do. We do it as a family.
Uncle Desmond's impact on my life is one that's truly hard to put into words sometimes, because his knowledge and his guidance has shaped almost every facet of my life. And I must say that whether it's just a sit-down conversation, or whether it's just sharing stories with the guys, or even just a nudge in the right direction, you will never ever leave a conversation without a huge shift in your perspective on life. And so I've been truly grateful, eternally grateful. I'll never forget the one time I brought him a pretty serious concern of mine, and he told me that no matter what the situation might be, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what life might throw at you, as long as you strive to be the absolute best, it doesn't matter what might come your way, but you will always be able to overcome and push through. And so that's been my mantra, it's been what I've built my life on so far. And so I'll never be able to repay, truly all that he's done for me in my life. And I've been eternally grateful, eternally grateful.
Desmond Young, Uncle Des, Pops. He's my father figure, my mentor. A great part of who I am today is because of the things he has instilled in me from when I was a teenager. Always being on time, be a man of your word. Your reputation is key. Work hard, don't cut corners. Be a man of God, be fair always. Those are just a few things that Uncle Desmond has instilled in me, and he has played a great part in who Said Bernard is today and the man I've become.
How important is your family?
Very.
How much did they raise you?
One day when I was at Astrom, my general manager kept a function. I wasn't sure what it was for. And I'm his right hand, and I don't know what the function is for. So about 10 or 15 of us went to somewhere in Discovery Bay. It's a restaurant that's on the sea, is in the water. And we were in a hotel for the weekend, and at the end, He gave me a check and said, give it to Pat. And I was like, this is funny. And then when I gave Pat the check, and he said, thank you for allowing your husband to spend so much time on his job. And that has made this company great. So we thank you. I think that sums it up. If you're doing all of those big things, and I said it in the book, something will get hit. But I'm very calculated and I'm very methodological, and I manage time well. When it's my family time, it's my family time. It's simple like that. And there's so many things happen to me that could derail your family life. I'm dropping Kimon to school one morning, and I'm on the phone. And Kimon said, Daddy, put on the phone. They're talking about you on the radio. So I lock off the phone, and I'm hearing on the radio that 10 o'clock, I will be the head of the UDC. This is something I knew nothing about. I was on the board. Something happened on the Friday. And that was the 6 o'clock news. In the 7 o'clock news, I heard the chairman of the UDC reading out my CV, why I'm the best person for the job. So I had to go to my then office, which now everybody vexed with me. Here, come to this place and lift it up and it doing good. No, and we are do good, you're going to leave. You desert to me. And I said, well, not my choice. And so I went. Yeah. And then in 2022, I got national award, and that too, I wasn't so sure because nobody called me. So I saw the name Desmond Young, and people keep telling me that is me, and I said no because nobody said anything to me. And then eventually I got a call from the office of the Prime Minister, and I started to interrogate the person. Are you sure you have the right person? And the lady says, Mr. Young, we know you. So I said, how come I didn't get any call earlier? And she said, but that's why you don't get no call, because we know you. The people who we don't know, we call them earlier. The ones we know, we call later. And she said, since you doubt that I'm not sure who I'm talking to, I'm going to read your CV. And when she said, you studied in Russia, this, I say, you can't stop. She said, Mr. Young, we know you.
Desmond, what, when you reflect on your life, right, the life that you've lived to this point, what do you feel? Proud.
Actually, I'm not proud about anything, but I feel very humbled. Well, as I said, when I finished the book and I read it, I got weak. Because although I know what I have done, but when you have it in one thing and read it straight, it frightened me. And I said, it's a good thing I was humble. Because it's very easy for what is in there to get into somebody's head. And then what Mrs. Maxwell said, that when you fall, however, what if I did fall? I have a whole heap of people to catch me, because I did raise up a lot of people. So that is what I feel good about. And I remember when I had the episode in 2020, which I could have died or unable to help myself. When I came out of it, I was in a coma for 7 days. Pat said to me, I'm your wife. I know you before we get married. I know you help out older people, but my God, I didn't know half. So I said, why? She said, the amount of people who came here and spoke to me and told me things that you did, and I don't know them. I thought I knew all. That is why you're alive. That is why you're alive. So that I feel good about. When I see the students or the individuals, because it's not all students, sometimes it's big men, that we have mentored and their life has turned around, I feel good about that. I don't know if proud is the right word, but I feel good about it. I could have sit down and say, oh, we have some more money. But instead, the family decided to invest it into people. Because I think that's the best thing you can do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a modicum of inspiration from Desmond Young. Can I say elder? Yes, I can.
Elder Desmond, yeah.
Civil engineer. You know what I love about Desmond? To know it is really to look the person. And so as you get your own copy of this book, you get to meet Desmond all over again, but you also get to meet his Lord who has been with him every step of the way. So if it is that you would like to get your copy, Desmond, I'm going to ask you to just share your contact information so that if you desire a copy of this book, you can, of course, get your own copy.
So the email address is dyoung876@gmail.com. dyoung876@gmail.com. And my mobile number is 876-371-0753. 876-371-0753. You can also find this book at the Excelsior High School bookstore, in the Andrews Memorial Hospital pharmacy, and in the resource center, not in the bookstore, at EJC, in the resource center, where you get the tracts and the stuff like that. It is also there. And Urban Books and Publishers in New Kingston, they are the editors. They have it as well. You refer to me as Elder Desmond Young. This is the same person that was running away from position, but at the time when I wrote the book, I had 9 positions, senior position in the Adventist institution, including member of the executive committee of the East Jamaica Conference, member of the executive committee of Jamaica Union Conference.
Chair of the building committee.
I was chairman of the Conference-wide Development Committee of East Jamaica Conference then, so.
And NCU too, you served as a...
Yes. So this is a person that sat at the back of the church for quite a long time, and I wanted to learn to be humble, because at that time I was already a big lead and a big boss. So I need to learn how to take orders from others. And so they didn't know until they saw me on TV that I was the same person.
Well, Desmond, we're so thankful that you've shared your story with us. You know, all good things come to us. I used to say a pause, but I'm going to say end. All things come to an end. But we've learned so much about your life. We're thankful that you have allowed us this opportunity. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your copy now, man. It's the Desmond Young Story, I'm telling you.
They can just contact me. I'll find them and get it to them.
Yeah, listen, if he says he'll find you,
I'll find you.
He will definitely find you. Thank you so much, Desmond. God bless you. And of course, your family. We know that they have some words for you, and we're going to hear from them shortly.
I'm Patricia Young, the happy and grateful wife of Desmond Young. And I say grateful because I think he was handpicked by God even when I didn't know it. And that's because simply growing up and seeing how rough my mom had in growing up her 6 children that God gave her, I decided that I didn't want to get married and I didn't want to have children. But as the years went on, I realized that I would not escape this. And when our path crossed, and that's Desmond Young and myself, when our path crossed through our youth club, at first I just wanted a friend. And when I realized that he wanted more than a friend, I honestly didn't want to go forth with it. But one of his character that until today stands out with me is his determination to accomplish whatever he wants. And as a result of that, that is why I'm here and I'm able to say to you, I am the wife of Desmond Young. I think I could not have gotten a better partner because he's someone that balances me. He is, as a father, he is caring. He will do anything for his children. He's selfless. He'll do anything for us, including myself. He's selfless and he will make sacrifice just to ensure that we accomplish whatsoever we put our mind to. He's the driving force behind the family. My husband is a determined, a God-fearing, a great husband, a great father, and a role model that anyone would want to emulate.
The impact that Desmond Young, my brother, has on my life. Where do I start? There are so many. Let me start by saying how I admire his unwavering drive for success, sacrifice, and giving back. He is not just a brother to me, but he has taught me so many. I have a son. My son is 11 years old, and based on the relationship that my brother has passed on to my son says, "Mommy, I want to be exactly like Uncle Dave and even better." The drive that he has for your education, and remember growing up, I know that my older brother, may his soul rest in peace, Desmond, is the one that says, "Summertime, where's the book list? How about the uniform?" And it goes on to the second generation, because my son, my brother is calling me, "Where's the book list? How is the uniform going?" He's just that kind of special person, and I will continue to admire, and he will continue to shape my values. And I just say thank God for him, and may God continue to bless him.
The entirety of my being is as a result of him. Yes, I agree, my mother would have contributed, but his strategic planning, how he approaches work, his work ethic. I've been able to receive 2 scholarships just because he was someone who ensured that what he has said in his book, he's instilled in me. When it's difficult times, you study, you take up your book and you find and you search the words. It's his demeanor in no matter whatever situation to remain grounded, to remain firm. Sometimes too firm for me, if I'm being very honest, but being very firm on who he is and what he needs and what he believes is the best way forward. It's something that I also have brought into my own personality and my own career. I remember that when he was sick, if you have read the book, and I had to, as they would say, take on the Desmond. There were times when they were just like, "We need to go inside and be in the hospital with him," and I said, "No, you're not going inside." And most of the remarks after that was, "Boy, Mr. Desmond, your daughter is just like you," you know. He allowed me to remain firm and confident in whatever decision that I decide to make is one that is good, it is right, and it is what would be best for everyone involved. And you do no harm to anyone else. Think clearly, have a plan, and act. Act, act, act.
He has taught me how to be a man. You know, I've seen the relationship he and mommy has had growing up, and I've aspired to be like that, to be a husband like that. You know, I want my wife to want for nothing. You know, whatever it is she needs, I want to be able to provide. As a father to me, you know, he has always been there. He's provided for his children, and you know, he's always been a no-nonsense type of guy. But growing up, I've always found ways, you know, to go around as a child. But you know, as I got older, I recognized the importance of standing on principle and knowing what it is that you want and not letting others run over you. And I've seen it revealed in my life, even just by how I work. You know, I didn't see myself in a corporate situation because, you know, I like to take charge and control of myself. And I see that in my father. He's a man who charts his own path. And so that's the life I wanted to follow. I've seen him be a beacon in other people's lives by giving them that same drive, by showing them what it is to come from nothing and be something. And so he has a lot of mentors, and I've seen him change their lives, give them hope, give them that drive that they want to succeed based on what they have seen him accomplish. So, you know, that's how my father has impacted me and impacted others.